Welcome back to Book Break. Today is the day for our July book haul. I have got a big surprise box of books sitting next to me. These are some of the most exciting books that we have published in the month of July. I'm going to open them up with you now. Ooh, now this is exciting. I'm going to show you 3 books at once. This little selection here, I've got 3 books all written by Emma Lord. These books have already been huge in the US. I've seen so many people talking about them, and now we've got them. They look so pretty together with all the different illustration styles on the cover as well. First up we have Tweet Cute, which is such a great name. This is like a modern You've Got Mail. So we have 2 teenagers, Pepper and Jack, whose families are enemies. I think they have rival businesses. And by night, Pepper and Jack are secretly running their family's dueling Twitter accounts. So they're having all of these hilarious, snarky exchanges. By day, Pepper and Jack know each other at school, and they have no idea that each other is the person they've been fighting with each night. You Have a Match is about a girl who signs up for one of those online DNA services and finds out that she has a sister she never knew about, and it's also going to be a summer romance. And When You Get the Chance might be the one that I'm most excited about personally, because this is a kind of gender-swapped Mamma Mia. It's about a girl trying to track down her mother from 3 possible candidates from her dad's diary. I'm going to read all 3 of these. So that was already thrilling, and I've still got a whole box left of books. So next up we have the paperback of State of Terror. This looks very, very different from the hardback. I love this new design. So this is a thriller written by Hillary Clinton herself along with Louise Penny. And this is fiction, but it's going to give you a big insight behind the scenes. After all, Hillary Clinton knows what she's talking about. There's also another political thriller in here, Never by Ken Follett. This is the paperback release. This book sounds terrifying. It's about this international chain reaction that kicks off and pushes the world closer and closer to a potentially catastrophic war. I've heard so many people buzzing about this one. Ken Follett is an amazing writer who knows how to make a book like this so tense and so believable. But it's okay, those books won't keep you up at night, because look what I just found! Goodnight Moon. This is the 75th anniversary edition. This is such a beloved classic. I definitely remember having this one read to me when I was a child. Look how beautiful it is! Goodnight comb and goodnight brush. I feel sleepy already. First published in 1947, so that is several generations by now who will have grown up with this book. Let me know in the comments below if you are one of them. This is a short story collection, Objects of Desire by Claire Sestanovich. Again, this is the paperback and has a totally new cover design, and I love this. The book is made up of 11 short stories, all about women's inner lives, and it spans various different ages and different stages of life. Tender, lucid, and piercingly funny, apparently. I feel like I'm seeing more and more people recently on BookTube getting really into short stories, myself included. I've suddenly started enjoying them so much, so this feels like a great one to pick up next. And let me know if you also have suddenly been seeing short stories everywhere. It can't just be me. Oh, we have a new Marcus Rashford, You Can Do It, How to Find Your Voice and Make a Difference. Marcus Rashford, what a hero. So this book is kind of a guide for life. So it's Marcus Rashford trying to encourage young people to realize that their voice matters and can make a difference, and also that they can achieve the things that they put their mind to. It's filled with stories from his own life, what amazing life he's had so far, as well as really, really good advice. Oh, Disorientation by Elaine Shea Chu. This book is finally out. This has been a really, really highly anticipated one. If you're looking for something really funny, really clever, that is a satire of so many different things, it's a complete send-up of all of the different forms of power and privilege, this book is making waves already. It's about a PhD student who ends up going on this kind of literary treasure hunt. She's feeling like totally done with her dissertation. She just wants to get out of academia, and then she stumbles across this clue, and along the way she has to really confront her relationship with the institutions that she's part of, her relationship with herself, her relationship with the white people around her, and along the way the author is just kind of making fun of everyone and everything. This is a beautiful book. I don't know this one. The Misunderstandings of Charity Brown by Elizabeth Laird. Look how gorgeous. Charity has just spent months in hospital being isolated, and she's recently come home and feels really overprotected by her very religious family. But her family have just decided to open the doors of their home to people in need, and Charity is nervous but very excited about having new visitors to come and stay. And it says the visitors provoke endless misunderstandings and confusion for Charity, and she finds herself grappling with surprising new feelings as she begins to see the world through others' eyes. This sounds lovely. This sounds like a modern future classic already. This is what I know so many people have been excited about, the double life of Daisy Hemmings. This sounds like Daisy Jones and the Six meets The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, also meets The Confession by Jessie Burton. It sounds like it's got so many elements from books that I love, but then put together to make something very new and intriguing. So it says here, the characters in this book are works of fiction, but then isn't everyone? Interesting. There's two timelines. The book is told between 1980s Cornwall and then present-day London. In the 80s storyline, a teenage boy called Jason is completely enchanted by these twin girls that he meets, Daisy and Bee. Particularly Daisy. She is the sun around which others orbit. That is quite the description. The trouble with the sun, of course, is that those who get too close risk getting burned, and by the end of the summer, one of the group will be dead. So that is the 80s storyline. We also have a present-day storyline. Famous actress Daisy Hemmings has decided it is time to publish her autobiography, and so we are going to flash back and forth between past and present and find out the truth of what really happened. I've just seen Annie John by Jamaica Kincaid, and actually I want to show you the full collection, so I'm going to dig them out. Look at these! Such a beautiful set. I've got 5 books here by Jamaica Kincaid. Annie John, which is this classic coming-of-age story about a girl growing up on Antigua. The autobiography of my mother, which is about a woman coming to terms with some of the trauma of her life, her relationship with her father and her mother, and a husband she is incapable of loving. At the Bottom of the River was actually Jamaica Kincaid's first published work, and this is a collection of pieces that she wrote for The New Yorker and for the Paris Review. So this book was the book that kind of announced Jamaica Kincaid as this incredible writer that we know now. Lucy is a novel about a teenage girl who moves from the West Indies to North America to work as an au pair, and then discovers the cracks in this seemingly perfect family that she works for. And finally, Among Flowers is a travel memoir. So this is about Jamaica Kincaid's 3-week trek through Nepal. So a real mix here, a really great way to get acquainted with Jamaica Kincaid as a writer. This book sounds so much fun. The Accidental Medium by Tracy Whitwell. This is about a woman called Taz from Gateshead, who is a retired TV presenter. She used to be very successful, and then her career kind of dried up, and now she finds herself working for a new age shop. And she realizes that the voices in her head aren't actually voiced in her head. She's actually a medium, and she is hearing voices from beyond the dead. Hence the title, The Accidental Medium, and then with this skill she's just discovered she has, she's going to end up having to solve a crime. Emily Noble's Disgrace. This is the paperback out now of a historical fiction novel about a woman called Essie Pound who has a very unusual job. It is to clean up after people have died. So when an old woman dies in a derelict boarding house, it is business as usual for Essie. But she discovers something this time that makes this job unlike any she has done before. This is Mary Paulson Ellis's trademark. This is what she's so loved for, is writing these stories. You go back and discover people's whole lives, told often through discoveries among their possessions. So she is the author of The Other Mrs. Walker, also The Inheritance of Solomon Farthing. This is book number 3. And another historical fiction paperback release, Yours Cheerfully by AJ Pierce. If you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know I'm a big fan of these books. This is the second book in the Emmy Lake Chronicles. It started with Dear Mrs. Bird, and these books are set during the Second World War, and it's about a young woman called Emmy Lake who wants to be a foreign correspondent, and she gets the only job that she can working into a newspaper, and she ends up helping answering letters written in to the agony aunt, Dear Mrs. Bird. That's what happens in the first book. And then as the series goes on, Emmy is now working for the Women's Friend magazine and discovering all of the ways that she can really make a difference on the home front. So they're really, really cheerful books, really moving. I have cried in both of them, but they're just delightful reads. This delightful, colourful thing is Remixed, an inspiring story about our families. So this is this really beautiful, vibrant story, as you can see, also really reassuring, and this one is about change. So it's about what happens when families change, go through loss or grief. It might be moving house, it might be a family breaking up. So many reasons why children and families might have to go through change, and this is a story about coming to terms with that change and the wonderful things that it can bring. For example, just on this page I first opened it to, a new day brings new opportunities. And then we get to see all of these characters meeting new people and finding new friends. Life can be even better than it was before. That's excellent to know. I personally hate change, so I think I need this one. We've got a YA novel by Sarah Barnard. She's an excellent YA writer. This is Something Certain Maybe. This is very relevant to the book I just showed you. One thing is for certain, everything's changing. It's about a girl called Rosie setting off to go to university for the first time, but uni ends up being nothing like she imagined. She doesn't really enjoy any of it. She doesn't like her course, she doesn't like her flatmates, things aren't going well. But then she meets Jade, and everything starts to look a little brighter. And the book asks, is first love enough when everything else is falling apart? Sarah Barnard writes really amazingly about mental health, about relationships and the ways that they change, and the importance of different relationships, different points in your life. So I think she's great. I've got 3 beautiful new MCLs in here, our Macmillan Collector's Library editions. These are always so beautiful. The Enchanted April. This is a novel set on the Italian Riviera. I am going to Italy this summer, so I think I should bring this one in my suitcase. 4 mismatched women respond to an advert offering a beautiful medieval castle to rent on the Italian Riviera. So it's about unlikely female friendships and the power of a blissful escape. Perfect holiday reading for me, yes please. This book, Tao Te Ching, this is the source of Zen Buddhism, and it says here it is probably the most broadly influential spiritual text in human history. So pretty significant. And then the last little classic here is The Analects by Confucius, so another philosophical text. Confucian philosophy is vital to an understanding of Chinese history, but also 2,500 years on, it's still really, really relevant to our lives today. Okay, and I've got 4 more hardbacks to go. First up, Rogues by Patrick Radden Keefe. True stories of grifters, killers, rebels, and crooks. Patrick Radden Keefe is a prize-winning writer. He is the author of Empire of Pain. If you've seen the TV show Dopesick, that's telling that story of the Sackler dynasty. And in this one, he is putting that master storytelling to an irresistible rogues gallery of crimes and misdemeanors. Upgrade by Blake Crouch is a book I am personally very excited for. I've loved Blake Crouch's books Recursion and Dark Matter. Even as a not particularly big sci-fi reader, I absolutely loved those. So I really urge you, whether or not you already like sci-fi, to give them a go because they are high concept, incredible books. Upgrade is about a man who has been upgraded. Suddenly, everything is just working better. He is capable of more. He can think sharper, read faster, memorize better, sleep better. That all sounds great, except this wasn't his choice. His genes have been hacked. And this is just part 1 in a terrifying plan to upgrade the whole of humanity. What is that going to mean for humankind? I've got Owner of a Lonely Heart by Eva Carter, who's the author of How to Save a Life. This one is about 3 people, each going through different heartbreaks of their own, who meet one fateful summer. And they are brought together by fate and also by a small, scruffy terrier. So this one's about a dog. I love that. And these are 3 people who, due to their own different heartbreaks, have been holding themselves back and keeping their distance from other people. But now that they have all been brought together, will they be brave enough to actually face their fears and find real connection? And then finally, the last book I've got in here is a stunner, The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. This is the long-awaited sequel to The Miniaturist. It's set 18 years later, and I just can't stop staring at how beautiful it is. I got to go to the book launch and see the actual doll's house that they built to make this cover, and it was amazing. I could not stop staring at it. So this book takes you back to Amsterdam 18 years after the events of the original The Miniaturist. This time we are following Nella's niece, Thea. It's a glorious, sweeping story of fate and ambition, secrets and dreams, and one young woman's determination to rule her own destiny. And did I mention how beautiful it is? So let me know in the comments below which book from this incredible pile of new releases you are most excited to get your hands on, or which books you have hauled recently that you would love to recommend to me and to each other in the comments. Do write those below. I will also link here to a playlist of all of our other book haul videos so you can click through and browse those, and I'll see you next time.